Welcome back to Born for the Stories. I'm Dr. Johanna. I'm writing solo today for our season 2 recap. I love taking this time to do these episodes. It allows me and Peter to show our gratitude to each and every one of you who have listened, shared, subscribed, and supported us through this journey. So a big thank you to each and every one of you. When we started season 2, we did not know what was really going to be. Season 1 was us. It was our story, our walls, our specific road. Season 2 was what happened when we opened the door and let other people walk through it. 30 episodes later, here we are. And I want to take a moment, not just to recap what we covered, but to sit in what it actually meant for the guests on our show, for us, and for you, the listeners. Okay, let's settle in and get comfy. I want to hit on some of our biggest episodes that we did in season 2, just bring it back, revisit these families, talk about how amazing it was for them to be vulnerable, to share their story, and to bring awareness around their kiddo's condition, what they were struggling with, either with themselves or as a family, and just providing that safe space for other parents to land. And that's what this whole podcast is about. And I'm going to start with Susie. She is a heart mom warrior. She spent 10 months inside the hospital walls, 3 strokes, a mother who drove the entire show when she came on. She did a phenomenal job. This episode really was about the medical system will push you to the edge of yourself and you will still show up. Susie, if you're out there listening continuously, thank you so much. She really shows up each and every day for her son. And when we're talking about those heart warriors out there, it's a long road, and it's each and every day that those parents have to show up and be the best caregiver that they can be, and to be on it, to know and to listen to their kiddo's body, to know if something else is possibly going on, and making sure that they're being the one that's showing up to those appointments, asking those questions so nothing is getting missed, to just enhance as much life as they possibly could. And this woman absolutely did that. That was one of our biggest episodes. A lot of listeners reached out to us after that, and we're just very thankful to not feel as alone as they walked this road. So thank you. Then that brings me to Rebecca. We did a 3-part series with Rebecca, if you remember. Her daughter was born with juvenile rheumatoid arthritis. She shared her story of what her daughter went through, how they tried the mainstream route, and then over time, she actually shared her story of how she healed her daughter's juvenile rheumatoid arthritis with the GAPS diet. And that whole story paints just such a beautiful picture. If you don't know, because it wasn't really highlighted in those episodes, but Rebecca is a family member of ours. And so her daughter is in our family. And when this diagnosis came, it shook everybody. It was very eye-opening. We just really, didn't understand why this was happening. And then we saw her daughter in pain and not being able to be as active as she wanted to be. So we were there watching this transition happen over the time that they implemented the GAPS diet and working on healing her gut and healing her immune system. And now if you look at her daughter, she is so healthy. She is active. She is thriving. She can go and do the craziest moves in gymnastics and do them well without having any residual joint pain. And that is so amazing to me. I mean, it makes me want to just really come to tears, because she took her daughter's life in control and she completely and utterly changed it. Once we shared Rebecca's story, it has been our top downloaded episodes. So for you guys out there that are interested in the GAPS diet, that are interested in ways that healing your gut can help with autoimmune conditions, that can help with just supporting your body to make it as strong as possible as your kiddos are going through these different things, then these are the episodes for you. Because even though her daughter was walking the road of juvenile rheumatoid arthritis, the GAPS diet and the way that they implemented that protocol for her can help so many other conditions. So the information is just pure gold in those episodes. Jumping into some of the next episodes as we work our way through the season. I mean, we touched on family after family. We touched on limb differences, DeGeorge syndrome, just like I said, juvenile RA, clubfoot, and every single one of these episodes carried the same undercurrent. And it was really the common theme of, I didn't know if I was doing the right thing, but I showed up and I did it anyway. And that is such a strong piece of information to provide to all of you guys out there, meeting us wherever you're at in that journey, that you are not alone. You may not know if you're making the right decision, but you are making the best decision at this current time that you can. And that does mean something for you and for your family. I love the solo episode that Peter and I got to do about just the patterns that just kept showing up in these shows. Like, for example, in season 2, we also really saw a common theme of, I don't want to sound dramatic. Other people have it worse. And man, every time one of the guests would say that, like my heart would just like break for them a little bit, because I'm a firm believer in that we don't need to compare complexity. There's all kinds of different conditions out there and different journeys. And some of us, when we intercept these conditions with our kiddos, are going to live in it for a short period of time, maybe 6 months, maybe 3 years. But some of us are going to live in it indefinitely. And no matter what, this community exists because it's not about comparison. It's not about, well, other people have it worse than I do, or I don't feel like I'm allowed to feel like this because it's not as bad. But when we isolate everything else that's going on with other people, and we look at you as an individual, no matter if we're looking at your kiddo or if we're looking at you, the mom or the dad, we all are justified in the feelings that we have. When these diagnoses come about, there is definitely a process of grief that needs to happen. And everyone will go through it in their different terms, in the different time frame, but it still needs to happen to naturally get to the other side when you are able to do so. So I want to give you the permission slip to remove it's not as bad as other people have it. It's okay to think that and to feel that way, but also know that you are allowed to be down about it. You're allowed to be sad, angry, mad, and process emotions and those feelings. That is also very healthy to do, because when we bring it back, and if we don't do that stuff and we're constantly caregiving, we're going to really go into a very, very dysregulated state. And that just is the perfect storm for our bodies as the caregivers to break down and to not perform the way that we need it to. So feel the feels. And that brings me to really just reiterating that nobody tells you what happens to your body when you're in constant survival mode for years. And it's not good when we're in constant survival. I mean, sometimes when we're in that phase 1 of just survival, we don't even know we're in phase 1 until we're ready to move past it. We're just constantly in fight or flight. And you may have heard this before, but I'll just try to keep it short and sweet. But, when, for example, our ancestors were in a stressful situation, let's just say, for example, getting chased by a lion, they would go into fight or flight, right? Because they have 2 options. They can fight or they can flight. And they would choose if they were going to run or if they were going to fight this lion. And whatever the outcome was, once they got out of that situation and the lion was gone and they were safe and sound, their body body would go back into that rest and digest state. Now, fast forward all of these years to modern society where we're constantly have input from, obviously technology and different platforms. We also have, just like everything going all the time. We're working, we're managing the household, we're, feeding the kids and managing the complexity of these medical conditions. Our bodies always feel like they're being chased by that lion. And they do not know how to break that cycle until we can really give it permission to do so with different practices. So if you are feeling drained, if you are feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling the caregiver burnout, just realize you are living inside of that survival mode. And also, here's the other permission slip is that it's okay to do something for yourself to decrease that, to bring some better balance to your body so you, again, can show up the best way that you can as a caregiver. Because prolonged fight or flight, prolonged stress, prolonged survival mode will not do anything beneficial for you and your body. And then it will ultimately start to come out and things will come up. And if your goal is to be the best mother, the best dad, the best, grandparent that you can be, you have to make sure that you're taking some time and taking care of yourself. When we get to the end of that survival mode, we transition and start to transition into like, well, who am I now? Especially the moms out there. Like we have these, the kiddos and we grow the kiddos and we have them. And then we have this complexity of helping take care of whatever condition they have and making the decisions and the caretaking and all the things. And we lose sight of who we are as moms. And that was one of my most favorite episodes to record because it is also important to be able to pour back into your cup and to not be in constant fight or flight mode. How do you return to yourself? How do you know what you like to do? Because a lot of times we will absolutely lose that. All of this, like working on the podcast and talking to different parents really inspired me to create at least a local community that can also grow and have support for each other. And that's exactly what I did. I'm located in Florida. So in St. Pete, we created an organization called HELD. And the whole purpose of HELD is to allow for medical moms to come and sit with each other. And again, just like the podcast and just in exactly with HELD, it's all about coming to a space that's non-judgmental. No matter what decision you made or what path you picked, it's not for judgment. It's for support. It's for connection. Because the common thing amongst the last 2 seasons is that no matter what condition your kiddo has, and no matter what the complexity is, we have the same core issues and that we are dealing with, especially as the mothers. And then when you are able to have someone to connect with on that level that really understands walking that similar path with you, you just feel really validated. You feel connected. You feel supported. So we are cultivating that here locally, and I am cultivating it online. We are making a HELD community online that will be available here in the next couple of months. So definitely stay tuned for that. We'll be talking about that on the podcast as well, so you don't lose any sight. We even ended this season with one of my most favorite recordings with Dr. Jason Sunners, and it was us chatting with him about hyperbaric oxygen therapy. If you have not listened to that episode yet, please click back and go to it because it is a phenomenal episode. I'll also say I wanted to highlight this one too because during the time that we chose to use hyperbaric oxygen for our son, just to give a little recap, if you haven't listened to that episode, we actually did not end up going to a facility that had a hard shell. It was just as far as a time commitment and how many sessions need to be done with the location that would allow babies, it was just not feasible. So we did the next best thing. We invested into a home unit, which is a soft shell chamber, which still brings a lot of benefit. And because our son was so young, we started this right before right before he was a year old. I had to go in the chamber with him. So recapping this episode with Dr. Sunners was actually very, it kind of like broke open some old scars, for a lack of better terms, because I kind of had just pushed out the commitment that it took to do these types of therapies. And when you do hyperbaric oxygen, you are typically in the unit for at least 60 to 90 minutes. So that's why we were not able to do it at an outdoor like facility where they had a hard shell, because the time commitment was so much, including the drive. But it still ate up a lot of time. But for me, I was so open and willing to do it because I wanted the best results for our son. Our surgeons did not require it for his condition and with how his healing was, but I wanted to make sure that anything we could do to promote the best healing possible, we were absolutely doing. But it brought me back to the moments of sitting inside that chamber with him, because I was actually scrolling through my phone to find some pictures so I could share on social media as I'm promoting these posts. And, it was a trying time. And I will say that if your kiddo is younger and you do decide to do hyperbaric oxygen, it is actually very, very beneficial for you as the caregiver to get in with them. One way is you can also connect with your kiddo when they're in there because you're entertaining them. But the other reason too is that it is very healing for nervous system regulation. It's healing for aches and pains and discomforts. It boosts your immune system, which everybody needs when they have a medically complex child. So there's so many added benefits to it that just jump in with your kiddo and do it, I think is some of my biggest advice. And also it's hard to say how much I know if it helped versus if it did not, because we just went ahead and did it versus waiting to say like, oh, the healing's not going so great, let's do it. But the stories on that episode, the testimonials that Dr. Sunners shares literally gave me goosebumps because it changed so many kiddos' lives. So I feel like this information was very, very important to get out there because it's an underutilized therapy and it can help significantly in all kinds of childhood conditions. Now, he does mention in that episode that it is in your best interest to make sure you're talking to someone that is educated on to make sure there are no contraindications because, of course, with many of birth defects or just medical complexities, there can be multiple conditions going on. So we just want to make sure we get the green light. And he is able to actually do a teleconsult to confirm that with you. So I think that if it is something you're curious in, you definitely reach out and schedule that consult so you feel safe and secure doing those therapies and to help find possibly a location close to you if you don't want to invest into a home unit. But if you just want the testimonials themselves, go back and listen to that episode because it is just so heartwarming. I'm so thankful that he took the opportunity to do that with us because he's a very, very busy guy, but his heart is so in the right place. So let's recap even more. What I keep coming back to after 30 episodes is every single parent who sat across from this mic said the same version of the same thing. I thought I was alone in this. I thought no one else understood. I thought I was too much or not enough, or somehow doing it wrong. And every single time, I watched that belief crack open the moment they started talking. That's not a coincidence. That's what happens when the room is finally safe enough to release. Season 2 taught me that diagnoses, they don't necessarily matter as much as the actual isolation that can come with them. It's not the medical complexity that breaks people. It's carrying it with no one who understands. because of that, that's why we have this podcast. We're creating this space because we understand and you have a whole community backing you. That's why we do Held in person. And that is why the Held community is coming online to you, because you don't have to carry it alone. I wanted to also do this recap because we're gearing up for season 3, but full transparency, to be completely honest with you guys, because I love you. I want you to continue to support us and I want to continue to grow. Guest outreach has been significant. It's been a lot. So I am being very intentional with getting the people on, the families on, the conditions on that you guys want to hear about. So keep sending me the information, keep requesting, because we're out doing it. So we're working on filling our pipeline for season 3. I'm also taking a little bit of time away so I can build the Held online community so that can be ready for you all as well, coming up hopefully by the fall. So we're not going dark, but we are going to be reducing temporarily through the summer how many episodes we're releasing. We're going to be super intentional. We're going to make sure that when I'm speaking or if a guest is on, it's just providing the best information that it can be for you. So we're not going away. We're just stepping back for a moment, recalibrating, getting everything set up so we can have a rockin' season 3. So in season 3, it's coming. Season 1 was our origin. Season 2 was the proof that this journey is bigger than one family. And season 3, it's going to be our map. We're going deeper into what it actually takes to move through this, not just to survive the diagnosis, but to find yourself on the other side of it. We're going to talk about what the medical system will never say to you. We're going to have the conversations that happen in parking lots, not in the actual exam rooms. I don't know exactly what it looks like yet, but I do know it's going to be the season where the medical mama, the medical parents stop surviving and they start becoming. Stay close. It's coming. And once again, thank you for being here for season 2. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing the episodes with a mama who needs it. Thank you for all the DMs, for attending Held if you're local, and for showing up even when things were hard. You were born for this. All of it, even this season. If this episode resonated with you, we'd love for you to take one simple step. Share it with a friend, another parent, or a caregiver who might need to know they are not alone in this journey. Make sure you are subscribed so you will never miss an episode. We release new stories every Monday. And if you're looking for more connection, resources, or ways to share your own story, come join us on Instagram at bornforthisstories, or visit our website at bornforthisstories.com. Remember, whatever part of the journey you're in, the waiting room, the recovery, or the in-between, you do not have to carry it alone. We see you, we stand with you, and never forget, you were born for this.